Okay, we're live.
All right, we're live. Okay, everybody, we're going live. Microphones are on. Alrighty, everybody, we're back in studio. Thank you very much, Sandra Dunn from the Vancouver Recovery Club. That was on our show as our first guest. You were awesome.
Yay, Sandy Pants.
Vancouver Recovery Club. They've got so many awesome services, and I didn't know you help people get into detox. So that's pretty cool. Congratulations. We have one of my favorite people. Sandra, you're one of my favorite people too. But we also have the second favorite people. We've got Cristina in the house, aka Scissor Fairy. Hi, Cristina.
Hi, Giuseppe.
How are you today?
I am fabulous. So excited to be here.
I love it. Two fabulous people in the studio. Darren, are you fabulous?
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
All right, we got
three
three fabulous people
fabulous.
in the studio. There we
more
go.
magnificent. We'll say fabulous.
Christina is a volunteer at the Vancouver Recovery Club. Tell us some of the things that you do at the Vancouver Recovery Club.
I've been running Scissor Fairy program out of the VRC since January of 2010, and it's grown into, like Sandra was saying, something totally that we didn't even see coming, and it's fabulous. It's just great.
So what is, for people that don't know, what Scissor Fairy do?
Well, we started out as a free haircut program. We've probably done about 8,000 haircuts in the last 8 years, so that's fabulous for people with barriers that, you know, a haircut might mean missing a meal. So we offer it every month. The locations change yearly, but we get to be of service to the people that are generally invisible to the general population. And they walk different when they get out of the chair, a little taller, a little straighter, a little eye contact, and they feel better about themselves. And that's when I came in, they said service can look like anything that you do well that you give away for free. So it started with the haircuts. And then I was on disability when I started the program. And the $100 a month they were giving to me for volunteer wasn't covering the cost. So the music came in. So I do a ton of shows. We're at Eastside Pride on June 23rd, and we'll also be unveiling this song as well. But the money from all these live performances I do helps the program keep running. Yeah.
So you said unveiling a song. We're going to talk about that in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
I guess what we want to start off with is, this is personal story part.
Fair enough.
So, what's your story? How'd you get in this seat?
I'm a burnt-out hooker who lost her hustle, and now I sit here.
Wow, I'm going to hashtag that later.
That's my truth.
Burnt-out hooker.
I lost my hustle. You know, like I always had ways and means of getting more. The men were like phone booths. There was another one on every corner. And then I woke up at 41, and it just wasn't, I had nothing left. Wanted to kill myself, and made the call, you know, to access, and I got in within a couple days, and it's very different now. But my journey started right away, and they gave me all these tools and love, and you know, and I've got great support in and outside of our recovery community, and it takes a village, and you know, my work knows I'm here right now. I'm leaving with a Amy Winehouse wig and big lips, and they're like, good girl, go, you know, like, so we get to be who we are and be supported without apologizing for who we are anymore. And that's the gift.
That's so cool, because I mean, there's the celebration of our quirkiness, right?
Right?
I mean, you know, I remember introducing you on stage at last year's Recovery Day. And yeah, I just assumed Scissor Fairy was sort of a musician stage name. So that a little background on it started as a hairdresser stage name, if you will. So that's very cool little input there. So I was listening on my way in to the show. Francis brought up the stigma that's attached.
Absolutely.
And now we hear you know, sort of loosely burnt out hooker, you know, and it's like, I get it, because I've brought in levity to my shameful moments and my regrets in my message. And I think, you know, over the last 12 years, people have really been able to connect to that honesty, but in a way of sharing it, like, it's not so bad. It's just part of the story. We don't have to fold up into a little cocoon, shed tears, and sob these stories. Now, for our listeners and our viewers, is this something that you were outright with right from the beginning? Did it take some time of recovery to be able to convey that message to people?
Well, I would definitely say when I finished my first set of steps, a little bit of self-love happened. Then I read the book The Alchemist by Pablo.
Good book.
So, and it opened everything. It changed my life. It's a very simple book. But the truth is, when we come in and we do the work, an actual 12-step program, that's all I know. I can't say if you get this from any other way. But my truth is this. We get to fall in love with ourselves, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we own who we are because, it goes back to childhood, a lot of those core beliefs. So when I look back at the child now of me as a little kid, it's not with guilt and shame and cringing and, I fall in love with everything and I give her a hug. Because that girl didn't have anything. She didn't have tools, So it changed my perception on humans in general. And because I have that for myself, I have it for everybody else that I run into.
Right.
And that's the gift for me of a 12-step program. Because if I had cancer, and I was a cancer survivor, I'd be telling people, hey, I survived cancer.
Yeah.
And so I'm loud and proud about being in recovery because we need strong people that are positive, that are doing positive things in the community to show that we do recover. And the stigma needs to be gone because we're causing more harm than good for these people. We're not giving them hope.
Right, and it's not to be mistaken that it's anything that we need to be proud of. I mean, there's a lot of things in my past I'm not proud of.
Absolutely.
But I, like you say, I can sort of accept what got me there, what led me to those experiences. It was a different mindset. It was troubled. It was confused. It was ignorant. It was, all these things.
Yeah.
And it becomes something that, many women must connect to that.
Well, we can go in, like, this is the stuff. When I go in and do a panel, we don't look like we just came off the street.
Exactly.
So we have to let the men and women in the detox and in the treatment centers and all that know that we are one of them. So I'm pretty blunt about it. Like, literally, I'm a burnt-out hooker who lost her hustle. And that was how I lived. I survived 22 years in active addiction. And, they need to know that the story is the same. Like, we don't forget where we were. Because as soon as I forget where I came from, I'm probably going to be back there.
Yeah.
So, and I have no desire to go back to that. I want to keep going with the recovery.
Go ahead, Darren.
Did you guys discuss, now, we talked about the VRC, and it's sort of the door that leads to resources and whatnot. And, I'm assuming that it helped you in a time of need for you to give back there, or is it just...
No, I started as a volunteer there, 3 months clean, when I was still at Homestead, and started working on the proposal for Scissor Fairy, and it's just, the rest is history.
And what was it for you, Homestead? Is it recovery home?
Yeah, it was a women's treatment center.
So what was the VRC to the women at Homestead?
It was a safe place for us to go and give back because when you were in second stage, you either had to work or volunteer. Okay. And I wasn't ready to work. So I wanted to give back what was given to me. And, it all led to, the work I'm doing now and having that compassion. I actually I gave Sandra the job. I trained her. So we're all connected, so it keeps going. And it's every resource is so important right now. And because, some are getting clawed back and it's like, are we not in an opiate crisis? Mm-hmm. But, I've got advocates, in the neighborhood that are, they're normies and they liken it to the AIDS epidemic. It's very similar. So we're getting allies and advocates from other areas other than people that are just in recovery, and that's a beautiful thing, because that's what we need more of, more understanding, more compassion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And to bring more of a voice to
Yeah.
anything that someone can do that's literally saving their life. I mean, it's shameful to think that there is a negative stigma into someone that's choosing to save their life, to better themselves, and to just do whatever it takes to just get out of that.
Yeah, and we gotta love them, you know, like instead of judging them, people relapse. That's the truth of it. Addiction is tough, but more love and less judgment is definitely what we need to do.
You know, I want to touch on what you said earlier, burnt out hooker, and the reason why I want to talk
Of course
about
you
this,
do, just
because
that big.
I said there's a lot of people that would say don't use that language.
Oh.
I actually said, you know, in a conversation at a stakeholder meeting, I was at a round table with healthcare professionals, and I was referring to why men use alone, and a lot of men use alone. A lot of them will use a hooker, and then they'll use alone afterwards, and that's where a lot of them. And I said, don't ever use that word hooker again. And I just thought to myself, I was like, well, you know, so what do you think about language police when it comes to that? Like, what? Like, you're shaming yourself when you say that. That's what they would say.
Absolutely not. I'm owning what I was. Like, I'm an addict. I can't, half measures don't work for me. I can be like, oh, I kept a lot of gentlemen company. But that's not my truth. Like, I mean, I was an escort, and it was a bad choice, and that was part of the addiction, and it took me to bad places. But, you know, I own that. It's not something, I don't pretend not to be who I am now.
So you're on a mission now.
Absolutely.
You said earlier, too, that you called Access and you got into detox right away.
Right away.
And you said it's not like that anymore. So tell us, what's your journey right now? What's going on for you? Like, what is this song about? What are you trying to advocate for? You told me something was closing down. So what's happening in the downtown east side?
Well, you know, like there's a lot of crazy going on, you know, like detox is not getting money. And, you know, I'm not going to go into specifics because it really is happening across the board. Government treatment beds getting pulled. The divide between men's access to treatment beds and women's are far divided. You know, even in detox, 6 beds for women, 34 for men. You know, like it's, I don't know if women are deemed harder to work with, more challenging, but I'm here to tell you, when we get clean, we're amazing people. And we do great things, and we're very spiritual and community-minded. And, you know, we are hearing a lot about 80% of the fentanyl overdoses are men. But 20% of 4,000 is a lot of women. And we need to start talking about them. They're people's mothers, they're people's sisters, daughters. And, the unfortunate thing is if you get turned away from detox because you don't have the proper prescription now, or you're not stable enough, which is very bewildering because I thought that's where you went to get stable. Fair enough. There's always these new barriers, and you know, women will go back out, pick up the first guy, continue on, and the layers of trauma continue.
So I'm going to share something with you, and I want to get your reaction on film too.
Okay.
So if I'm a physician or I'm a nurse, and I dabble in heroin and fentanyl and cocaine, and it comes out that I'm a drug addict, I get shipped on a plane to a different province, and I get fully funded private treatment in an abstinence-based environment paid for by the government. So if a Vancouver Coastal Health physician has a drug problem, they go to a private treatment center and get abstinence-based treatment. If a burnt-out hooker goes to that same doctor and wants to get clean, they get sent to a harm reduction treatment service. How does that make you feel?
Well, let me tell you something. The Band-Aid of harm reduction, Narcan training, like we're grateful for the Narcan because we, in the moment, get to save lives, but it's not a fix. Women and men don't get what we have collectively in this room without all the other stuff. And harm reduction doesn't give you a full life back. And people deserve to have a full life.
People deserve the same treatment that doctor and nurse
Absolutely.
gets.
And we never hear about the consequences for these, politicians or medical practitioners who are causing a lot more wreckage than a burnt out hooker who lost her hustle.
Like, you work downtown, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so have you saved anyone's life with Narcan?
I can't even keep count. I pick up the 60-pack of Narcan now because 3 in a little case probably doesn't get me through Monday. But it's, when the AIDS epidemic was, we wished we had something like
Has
that.
anyone
that gave
ever
somebody...
asked you for help?
No. No, it's like to give a Narcan?
No, just like, has anybody in the downtown east side ever asked?
Absolutely.
If you could give them a plane ticket to a private treatment center.
Especially for the women, we refer them to the Downtown Eastside Women's Center where they have 250 women for lunch every day. So it's,
I think we need to spread that message out there. I think once everybody realizes the 2-tiered healthcare system we have in British Columbia,
absolutely.
I feel like puking every time because I know it, I see it, I experience it. I had to prove I was on welfare and poor to access a treatment bed, 7 years ago.
Yes, you have to be at the bottom, and it shouldn't be that hard. It's addiction. And you know what? We need to stop blaming the addict. I'm a smoker. Guaranteed, if I get lung cancer, my doctor's not going to say, sorry, you don't qualify because you did it to yourself. People who overeat, everybody's got an addiction in the whole wide world. Mm-hmm. But we got to stop blaming the ones that are the most vulnerable. The opiate crisis was not started by a man or a woman doing drugs in the downtown east side. To be clear, they did not start this. They are collateral damage, and they matter. Their lives matter. They matter.
Alrighty, so we have been talking to Scissor Fairy. She's got quite the good spirit, and I always appreciate having Cristina and part of our shows. She's been involved in lots of volunteer activities and so forth. Darren, whenever I get a chance to talk about the whole 2-tiered system, I have to jump on it.
Yeah.
Because she's right in the ghetto. She's right downtown in the downtown east side.
And that opinion is what's missing, I think. I mean, every feed that defends that argument is why should I, a tax-paying citizen, who doesn't, do drugs, and why should I have to pay, for someone who's down and out? Why should I have to do that? And I don't know. It's that humanness that she talks about, right?
A 60-pack of Narcan is not even enough for her to get through the weekend.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
And if somebody asks for help to get out of that, she can't do anything.
But I wonder where we would be.
She can't do anything. It's insane.
Do you ever think about where we would be had this so-called epidemic not happened? If this fentanyl thing didn't come on, like would we still be sort of manipulating the system?
Well, we had a problem before the fentanyl crisis.
Exactly.
So it's not like people were still dying before the fentanyl crisis, and just recently in the media, more people are dying from alcohol abuse than they are from fentanyl abuse.
Why is that not so known?
I don't know why. So
something legal.
So that's a whole other show. We're gonna have to do that. So we have got Cristina back in the studio. She just stepped out for a couple of minutes, and she is here. Tell us really quickly, because we've got enough time for the song. She's going to sing live for us, everybody, her new song. She had a press release at the VRC a little while ago to talk about the slowdown of access to treatment. There's so many phone numbers and places to call, and what are they calling it now? The overdose crisis unit at the hospital. But to get people off the streets into recovery, why did you do this song?
I just wanted to really show the barriers. I should be talking like in an English accent, but I don't do accents so clearly. To show the barriers that women are having to access detox and treatment right now, and what a little bit, a little bit of an inside view into what a day in the life of a gal who's got an addiction going on. And yeah, that's about it.
So I guess, do we need to introduce Miss Amy Winehouse? Who's sitting in here with us today?
Yes, very reminiscent. And we picked Amy because, she died in addiction.
Yeah.
She was surrounded by a bunch of normies that didn't really get it, right? And so they loved her to death.
Giuseppe's got the only microphone on, so he'll have to introduce you.
Tried to get myself to rehab. I can't go. Not enough spots in detox, so it's slow. But I ain't got much time. Everybody out here's dying. Tried to get myself to rehab. I can't go. I'd rather get some help today. They say come back in 14 days. So I go back out to the streets, yeah, and pick up the first man I meet. You look at me like I'm criminal. Don't you know that makes me more vulnerable? Tried to get myself to rehab. I can't go. Way more beds for men. I'm a woman. It's slow. But I ain't got much time. Everybody out here's dying. Tried to get myself to rehab. I can't go. They ask, how'd you end up here? I said, I ain't got no idea. Too many traumas have made me crazy. So I always keep my dealer near. I'm addicted and depressed. Fentanyl has got me stressed. Tried to get myself to rehab. I can't go. Way more beds for men. I'm a woman. It's slow. I don't ever want to use again. I just need a friend. Someone who can help me and show me how to find recovery. I don't mean to complain, but you can't fix these issues with another bike lane. Tried to get myself to rehab. I can't go. Way more beds for men. I'm a woman. It's slow. But I ain't got much time. Everybody out here's dying. Tried to get myself to rehab. I can't go.
Oh my God, yeah!
And I just want to nail down one thing with Giuseppe while I got him on live. Am I still going to do Recovery Day opening at our gallery?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, we are! In the books.
Yeah, we got Matthew Good this year at Recovery Day.
I know.
Yes.
It's such a great thing to be part of.
We've got a couple of minutes. That's a wonderful song. Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Amy House remix.
The
by
remix.
Scissor Fairy. Now, there's a video that goes along with that song.
There is. The full video is on YouTube under Sandra Dunn's YouTube channel, and just put in Scissor Fairy Rehab and it pops right up. Please watch and share if you're not worried about your anonymity. We understand if you are. But we need to start the conversation. There's a new mayoral election happening this year, and we need to make our voices heard so that we can get this in on the platform before the election. So we're gonna go hard on this and see what we can do.
Right on.
Yeah.
Scissor Fairy's taking it to the man. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Alrighty, well, thank you very much for being on our show. You got an awesome story, and we do recover. We do recover, and we have so much fun in recovery. And you're just, you and Sandra, who's in the studio as well, give us that opportunity at the Recovery Club to have fun. And thanks for helping all those people with the haircuts and whatever else that's turned into.
My
pleasure. We're super grateful, and we need to tell our truths. I'm a drug addict. I smoked crack. You know what? It's a mistake I made, but I've changed. I've recovered. If you're at home and you're using drugs, there's no shame in your story. It's just one of those things that you need to get honest about because you can help somebody.
Absolutely.
And helping somebody is the best gift we can do. And buying people stuff is nice, but when you can help them get their life back, it's the best gift ever.
And like you said, but that full life that's out there that could be the result of that saved life. It's how do we get them there? And if there's women that are listening to this or watching this, go visit these women at the VRC and start that process to whatever resource it's a road. And it's not easy to access right now, but go there and see.
Alrighty, before we cut the show off, June 16th, Addictive Comedy, a fundraiser for Recovery Day BC. There's 50 tickets left out of 900. So get your ticket. We want to sell out of this thing. Tickets are $25. It's a comedy show fundraiser for Recovery Day. Darren, we got 30 seconds.
Stay tuned for World Poetry Cafe coming up next. And we're going to go with Canadian Lucinda Williams. This song's called Joy. Enjoy.
Thanks for watching.
It's called Joy.